Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back once again. Friends, everything in this world has a price, except for courage and determination, which you can't buy from any store. These qualities are born within those who endure the flames of poverty every day. How an orphan boy who used to sleep in an old car became so famous one day through his hard work and dedication that the world still remembers him. The story begins by a lakeside where we see an old man sitting, watching his grandson boating. Meanwhile, some boys come along rowing a large boat, which is called rowing, an Olympic game. Seeing this, the old man reminisces about his youth and says, "Let me tell you some of my stories." We then travel to 1936. Looking at the conditions, you can guess that no rich people lived there. Here we see a boy named Ranch, who is putting newspaper in his torn shoes so that he can walk without much trouble. He does this secretly because if others see him doing this, they will make fun of him. After this, he wears his 2-day-old clothes again and leaves for college, where he likes a girl but is afraid to talk to her. During lunchtime, he goes to the canteen but returns with an empty stomach because he doesn't have enough money to buy anything to eat. Meanwhile, we see his friend Roger, who understands his situation because he also lives there. Now, Ranch works part-time somewhere, but he is fired from that job, and so he goes looking for another job. However, there are already many people there, so he doesn't get a place and returns home disappointed. Home, which is an old car, where he lives alone because his parents aren't there. He has never even seen them. The next day, when he goes to college, he is reminded that his college fees are due, so now he has to pay the full fee. But he doesn't have the money, so he manages to ask for 2 weeks' time. Then he goes to meet his friend Roger and tells him what happened. Roger tells him about the rowing team, where if they get selected, they will get a job and a place to eat, sleep, and live. They will have to take a test for it, which is quite difficult, but Ranch wants to try once. So, they go for the test outside the class, where they see that they aren't alone. Many boys are there. During this, the coach tells everyone that they have come here to participate in a game called rowing. But let me tell you, the JP boat is operated by 8 people, 1 leader, 1 master, and the other 6 give it their all. Because this game is not as easy as it looks. An average person cannot row the boat for long. So, your test will also be conducted to see how capable you are. After this, all names are registered and divided into 2 teams. Then, they do push-ups, running, heavy workouts, and finally, they are made to row the JP boat. During this, Ranch requests the coach to let him know if there is any part-time job he can do. Hearing this, the boy standing beside him laughs. And he asks, "You will be so tired from the training, when will you do the work?" To this, Ranch replies, "Sir, poverty doesn't let you sleep, and an empty stomach doesn't let you stay hungry. So, I have to do something to keep my body going." One day, after training, when they were going to get something to eat, Roger asks Ranch if he would come along with him. But Ranch refuses, saying he isn't hungry. However, the real issue was money, because with money, one can buy anything, even people. But Ranch didn't have money. So, he goes to a slum where some homeless people were being given food, and Ranch stands in line too. When he sees that his classmate is distributing the food, he moves away and has to sleep on an empty stomach that night. Now, after so much practice, when both of them go to their classes, they can't even sit properly because their whole bodies were in pain. So, they both fall asleep right there. When the professor notices someone is sleeping, he looks towards them, but Sarah, who liked Ranch, wakes him up. However, Roger continues to sleep, and he gets punished by being asked to fix the auditorium chairs. After this, they go back to training, where they are made to practice even more than before. They are asked to row the boat solo. Some very difficult tests are conducted, and in this game, the most important thing was stamina, which everyone needed to have in abundance. But Ranch wasn't doing all this because he had a passion for the game or because he wanted to win something for his country. He just wanted food to eat and a job to pay for his college fees, but fate had something else in store for him. What that was, you will find out in a while. During these days, conversations between Sarah and Ranch started, and they began to show interest in each other. But right now, Ranch was focused on the selection of the 8 people, for which he was giving his all. Then finally, the day comes which everyone was waiting for, the selection day. Everyone is gathered, and one by one, their names are called out, including Ranch and Roger. They are extremely happy to hear their names. They had put in all their effort for this. Their photo shoot is done, and then they are introduced to their rowing leader Gary, who will give them instructions on which route to take and what to do. That night, the 8 of them enjoy a lot, but Ranch goes to meet Sarah. They are on the boat, where Ranch tells her everything that happened during the day. Sarah listens to him with interest, and just like this, their story, much like the speed of the boat, slowly but surely starts to pick up pace. The next day, they are called for training, and for the first time, they practice with professionals to understand their stamina and technique. How they move the paddle, how they motivate their teammates, everything needed to be kept in mind. One day, instead of going home, Ranch reaches the place where their boat is repaired and made. He carefully observes the boat when an old man named Aaron, who does this work, comes there. Aaron is surprised to see him because no boy normally comes there since they are not interested in these things. But Ranch was different. He talks a lot with Aaron, who tells him that he can come there whenever he wants. And so, Ranch's life continues in this way. Now, he also got a room, good food, and some money. Alongside, he continued his training, putting in all his effort because he needed more money. What he had wasn't enough. One day, the community manager comes to the head coach and says, "This time, no one can stop us from getting the gold. Just keep working hard." Friends, in 2 days, there is going to be a match, which is the Washington Junior team's first match. The coach was quite nervous about it. Basically, the team's name is Washington. They were unsure what to do, where to place everyone. That's why Gary was called. He had observed all the players closely, he knew their strengths and weaknesses. He explained everything to the head coach, who then decided on their positions for the next day. But before that, they were given a new boat and were told, "Always respect this boat, only then will it bring you victory. The day you consider it just an ordinary boat, you will lose everything." Finally, their first race begins. Thousands of people had come to watch. At the start, they were behind, but seeing Gary's courage and determination, an intense fire ignites within his teammates. They start rowing the boat in such a way that everyone is amazed. At one point, they were so far behind that no one could believe it, but they won the race, and everyone celebrates together. The coach was also surprised to see their speed at the end, wondering how they rowed so fast. With this victory, they qualified for the Olympics. But the coach now faced a dilemma: who to send, the senior team or the junior team. The whole team was celebrating, Ranch and Sarah were also dancing. Meanwhile, the coach watched old Olympic videos, trying to decide who truly deserved to go. The next day, he went to the dressing room and saw everyone's belongings. He noticed Ranch's torn shoes and socks with holes. This made him realize why Ranch had said on the first day that he needed a job. Perhaps this was the reason the coach understood who truly deserved it. But now, the decision was up to the principal of Washington University. Everyone was called to the hall, both teams, and the coaches. It was announced that the son of a king will no longer be a king, but the one who deserves it will become the king. Meaning, the team that had proven themselves would go to play in the Olympics, which was Ranch's junior team. Hearing this, everyone was very happy. But the senior team's coach told the principal that this was wrong, they couldn't do this. The principal replied, "I never said that only the seniors should get the chance. Prove yourselves, and you can go to the next Olympics." Simple. After this, we see Sarah and Ranch talking. Meanwhile, Ranch sees his father pulling a rickshaw outside. Yes, friends, his father, who had abandoned him after his mother's death to live with his second wife. Ranch was only 10 years old then. Now, his father said, I saw your photo in the newspaper this morning. I felt very good, but I will be even happier when you bring home the gold. Saying this, he leaves. But after this, Ranch changes a lot. There was something that was eating him up inside all the time. Well, everyone sets off for the Olympics. They board the train, but that very night Ranch gets into a scuffle with a teammate. As a result, everyone separates them, and Ranch goes to sit quietly in a corner. Even after this, he can't focus on practice, which leads to a poor performance. Ranch blames others for it, but the coach knows whose fault it is, so he replaces Ranch with an extra player and tells him to leave. That night, the coach sees Ranch packing his bag, so he calls Aaron, who takes Ranch with him and asks what the matter is. Ranch says he's very angry with his father. Why did he do this to me? Didn't he ever like me? Aaron explains to him that our life is like a boat that we have to row ourselves. The difference is that some people row it quickly and move ahead, while others stay stuck in one place. The result is that water starts to fill the boat, and it sinks. Ranch understands his words and apologizes to the coach the next day. Then we see the qualifier match. It's crucial for them to win this match if they want to compete with the top teams. But in this match, they start to falter again. However, thanks to Gary's encouragement, they finally win the match because he keeps motivating them. After that, a party is held, and everyone is invited. During the party, we see the coach talking to a federation mate. Actually, to go to Berlin for the finals, they need to pay $500. This story is set during the time when Hitler ruled Germany, and he didn't want the USA team to come to Germany at any cost, so he imposed this rule. Everyone discusses this and then comes up with an idea to get the story published in the newspaper, hoping people will help. When the people of Washington find out that their team is competing against Germany, they see it as the perfect opportunity to show the world that they aren't afraid of anyone. Everyone donates money, including Ranch's dad. The money is then sent to the team, but they are still $300 short. To make up the difference, the coach of the team that lost comes forward and donates $300 from his own pocket, saying, "When you win, you can pay me back, but right now, your team deserves to win this match." The head coach hugs him, with tears in his eyes, showing true sportsmanship. The team reaches Berlin, and the Americans are very happy to see this. However, upon arriving, Down's health deteriorates, and he can't attend the opening ceremony. But he plays in the match the next day because it's the semi-finals, which they win easily. After that, Germany also has a match, and everyone stays to watch because, at that time, the German rowing team was the reigning champion, having won the last 4 Olympic gold medals. They win the game in just a few seconds and secure their place in the finals, making Germany the strongest team, but then Down collapses and is immediately taken to the doctor, who says he is dehydrated and needs some rest. This is a big problem because their final is in 2 days, and everyone gets very tense about it. As time passes, the entire team practices all night long, and their sleep starts to decrease. But Down's vomiting wouldn't stop, and then the sun rises. The roar of 500,000 people echoes in their ears, with only a few supporting this team. We see Down, who has come in this condition to stand shoulder to shoulder with his team. Suddenly, we hear a very loud noise, as if an earthquake has struck. The coach turns around to see Hitler arriving with his generals to watch the match. The entire stadium salutes him, and seeing this, the coach realizes that today he has to break Hitler's pride. The race begins, and the German team is in the lead because they were the strongest. Our team is in the middle because Down, who was quite weak, was sitting at the front, so all the force had to be exerted by those at the back. Seeing this, Gary tells him, "Look, there's Hitler standing. He has killed countless people from your country. Today, you have the chance to defeat his team in his own country, right in front of him. Show him that we Americans can do anything." Everyone loves their country, and hearing Gary's words, the extinguished fire within Down reignites. Their speed increases, and now they move to the 3rd position, with only Italy, Germany, and America in the lead. Now, Germany and America are neck and neck, and both teams crossed the finish line at the same time. No one can tell who won, so their photo is taken to determine the winner. Looking at the last moment's photo, the referee announces, "It's America." Hearing this, Hitler disappears from there within seconds, and all the American supporters, who were watching and listening to the telecast across America, start celebrating with joy. This team had defeated Hitler's team in Hitler's own country. They were speechless. The coach couldn't believe that a team formed just a few months ago had defeated the four-time champions. Everyone had tears in their eyes. The story then shifts to the present, where we see the old man, who is Ranch. His grandson asks him, "Grandpa, did you win that Olympic with those 8 people? Did all 8 of you row that boat together?" Ranch replies, "Son, we weren't 8, we were 1. And as long as we are 1, we can win against anyone." Finally, we are shown the real photo of the entire team, and with that, the story ends.